Housekeeping organization. Something's happening, channel.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Warframe Digest, episode 13. Today we'll be covering Devstream 31 and all of its affiliated topics in a moment's notice. First, let's say that this stream was somewhat very light, but it did give off a ton of information on our new buddies, our new replacement to the Sentinels temporarily. I'll explain that later. The Kubrow. It's a pretty big list. It pretty much spans a page. Yeah, a page, and then player ships is the other portion. But yeah, some pretty good interesting details, and let's get this thing started. So, Devstream happened today, and what's their opening statement? Some housekeeping, like always. Most importantly, that the PS4 users will be getting update 13.7 relatively soon, earliest next week. It will be going into cert, and it should take about a week after that for them to actually get it in their grubby little PS4 hands. Don't worry, we have very grubby keyboard fingers. But then again, let's move on. So, the first question the team was hit was, what are we going to do with the Prime things? There's been dilution, there's been some inflation, deflation on Prime, demands in trade, and what's the next step for Prime items in the Prime trade and the Prime market? Pretty much, they're thinking about something they really didn't go into detail with, and that something is a new system that is gonna be implemented to pretty much do with these leftover Prime pieces of sorts. You know, those extra fang Prime blades that you just can't sell, or those Bronco blueprints that are just stockpiling because they're the easiest things to find, and pretty much little knickknacks like that, like the bow ornament that I just have like 7 of them, even though I only need 2. Pretty much, I cannot say 100% what this is going to be. A lot of speculations being thrown up into the air, but it's a new mechanic, and it's interesting to see that we can do something else with Prime pieces that isn't necessarily crafting the Prime weapon. More details to come in the near future, let's hope. Oberon changes are still in the works, so are changes to the sniper rifles, but those are being pushed aside for now because their priority is less than the update 14 that is at hand. PS4 is at 13.3 and PC is at 13.8 currently with the Breeding Grounds event. And since it's 13.8, they might do a 0.9, who knows, they never really do. They have done it once as far as I've played in the last year and a half. But that normally means if they don't, it's update 14 next week at best. At worst, it might be the week after that, but oh well, I'm rambling on. So, talking about changes that are going to be coming up, that may be in update 14 or not, they pretty much started with Scott saying something about changes to mods. This was a very dodgy thing for me, but it sounds very interesting. They're going to be adding quality rating to mods. This seems to be a thing that's being thrown into prototypes, but it sounds interesting, where pretty much mods aren't just get them and max them out immediately. They're going to be getting low quality, mid quality, and precious mods, pretty much refined and mint conditions. Pretty much mods can actually be repaired and actually upgraded to their maximum potential, so it's not like, hey look, I just got this mod, it is the best mod I require in order to actually play the game. It's going to be more of a system of, hey look, I got this mod, yes, it is one of these quote-unquote requirements, but it has a hard max that I will slowly, eventually better myself with it as the game progresses. This is my speculation, this is my interpretation of these details, so take them with a grain of salt. Otherwise, we can just wait and see. One way or another, mod changes? This might be the start of mod 2.5, who knows? Enough with these speculations, rambling, and knick-knack details that most people really don't care about. For you that do, you're welcome. For you that don't, hold up, we're getting there. The next big detail that they are saying is tutorial changes! Yay! Why do we care about tutorials? Dark, we're veterans. We've been playing this game for X amount of days, X amount of months, and X amount of nights. Well, tutorial affects everyone. Let's face it. The tutorial will be redesigned and actually start with a redirection, a shield capacity mod, at the get-go. How is this important? New players don't have anything. This will really help them. It has been so difficult to play with friends that I've just picked up the game and had to give them a redirection that I may have not used, and then they finally get one months down the line. So this will actually help them get introduced into the game a lot easier, a lot smoother, a lot quicker, and da-da-da-da-da-da. Another thing about the new player experience, pretty much, again, we have to explain the system to our friends. They're going to do a progressive player quest system. What does this mean to us again, the veterans, Dark? Well, this means nothing to us. Maybe. The progressive player quest will be a system that will actually help new players pretty much get from point A, Mercury, to point C, where everyone else is. Pretty much, it will guide them step by step on what are the systems, what are the mods, what are the fusions, there's a lot of things in Warframe, it's very complicated, we all know that, thank you. But what does it mean to veterans? Well, this new player progressive story, or this new player progressive quest system, will be the first step into Vor's Prize. Vor's Prize is actually the first quest introduced into the game that has been promised to us a year and a half ago. A year ago, actually. About a year ago, exactly. I don't know. Pretty long. And they even provided a screenshot. And as you can see here, or have you been seeing in the last few seconds, it is on Earth. It seems to be in a Roken vault, just like Excalibur, Loki, and Mag, which of the three you pick to play off. Well, actually, the original tutorial was just Excalibur, but your beginning Warframe pretty much woke up from, was disorientated, and then assaulted by Vor. Pretty much, this is the progression, this is the quest system that will explain why is Vor after us, what does Vor mean to us, and why are we after him. And it's the fundamental stepping stones for the new questing, and that means a lot to veteran players, whether you acknowledge it or not, because this is the stepping stone, like I said, for the rest of the story, for the rest of the lore, for the rest of all the interactions that the players will have with Vor, Rock, Heck, Alid, Salad, name him whatever you want, Lephantis, Krell, and Kayla, and all those other people that just really want to tear us limb from limb and actually use our technology for their own potential gain. Mouthfuls, I need to breathe. Another big interesting change that is coming up in Update 14 is loadouts. But Dark, we have loadout A, B, C. Yeah, those are preset loadouts. Those are pretty much little loadouts you can have in your weapons and things like that, blah, 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 blah. It's the loadouts we were actually asking for. Full system loadouts. The loadout that has your Warframe, your primary, your secondary, your melee, your sandal gun, blah, blah, blah. All pre-saved, predetermined, and just housed somewhere different. Pretty much, this is coming up. In Update 14, it'll let you pretty much make loadouts, save your presets, and actually name them. So you can have Rush build, OP build, Farming build, WTF build, Anti-Stalker, Anti-G3, everything's Anti-Harvester at this day and age. I don't know, Harvester's too easy. But you get the point. So let's move on to the big meat of this discussion, the Kubrow, or the Kubrow. I'll keep saying both of them because people seem to be appeased by either or. So, the Kubrow. Or the Kubrow. I'm just going to stick with Kubrow. It's easier for me. The Kubrow. What's the first thing they tell us we can do with them? You can name it. Yes, you will be able to name it, so everyone chill out. If not, get Frosty, he'll chill you out. Hold your horses, and have a moment of glee. You'll be able to name him Fido, Pinky, Brownie, Smarty, Goofy, Doggy, and whatever you want. Yes, I'm looking at you. Yes, you. Okay. And they showed us a bit of the animations, some new animations that the Kubrow will be doing while in the ship, while it is idling, as we galley on about our own business. Nice little Fido just sitting there in the corner. Yes, I'm naming mine Fido, literally. And they told us how we will obtain this pet, or this beast. Descriptions may vary. Basically, we will be stealing an egg. But I thought they were mammals. It's space. They are mammals. They just make eggs. Don't start with my logic in the comment section down below. I know what the logic is. It's a space game. Don't question it. We'll be stealing the Kubrow eggs from a Kubrow den. Upon stealing the egg from the den, we will return to our ship, all magnificent and glorious, because we have successfully stolen an egg from something that we can kill in 2 seconds. And Then we'll incubate it, we'll hatch it, and we'll see what a genetic makeup of this animal is. Why is the genetic makeup so important? Because after you see this little thing, yes, the adorable puppy rolling around in the background as you see it right now, he will grow into a ferocious beast, but we have to make sure his genetic details are perfect. Because the genetic details will determine his personality. Is he a hunter? Is he a digger? Is he goofy? Is he hyperactive? Is he calm? And most importantly, whether he'll track and pin your enemies down to the ground like the following doggy is doing now. Or just dig holes everywhere just trying to find loot. Who knows? Might find some more ammo drum. So, again, the genetics. The genetics will be a very important part to this Kubrow, to this mechanic, and to its own sub-economy that I see being created in the near future. That will pretty much determine the trading with your friends. Yes, you'll be able to trade this thing with your friends. You'll be able to get genetic imprints from your Kubrow and see what it has going for it. Its eyes, its fur pattern, its fur color, its size, its body structure, and you'll be able to determine and actually customize your Kubrow fine-tuned to the eye color, behavior, fur color, pattern, blah 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 blah, and whether it will be the following 4. Yes, you are currently seeing a chubby, a skinny, an average, which is the one we've been seeing throughout, and a muscular. There will be 4 extreme body types of your choosing. Actually, your later choosing, because the first one might end up chubby and you have no say in the matter. Congratulations, RNG loves you. Aside from that, again, we will have to do Kubrow upkeep. We have to make sure that they're healthy, that they're well fed, that they're well rested, because we will not be able to take them on every last mission. We will have to take small intermissions with them. They need to rest, they're not biologically enhanced like the Warframes are, and they have their own limitations. They are smaller creatures, even though they can pretty much tower you if they were to stand up. Unless you're Siren, she's tall. Siren's tall. And aside from the Kubrows, the second biggest detail on this update is the player ships. We are seeing currently an external image of the player ships, and this pretty much is the redesign of the Mantis. The Mantis, which is the dropship that we've had at the beginning and exits of levels, dropping us off and picking us up, has been redesigned, and it's been renamed? I gotta find the name real quickly. And this is the new, pretty much, arsenal system. And pretty much this is the part of the ship you will see your arsenal. You'll see the foundry, the mods, the codex, and everything else in here. Pretty much this is your back room. This is where you'll be doing everything of importance, and it's very cramped, but it's very homey, especially since you have your Kubrow there in the corner over there. Alongside these implementations was the solar system, like I said, in the front of the ship, in the back, behind us. The new solar system implementation is more or less the same, but now we actually get to see the zoom in of the planets. We actually see how the systems will look. It is a multi-layered ring system. The inner rings to the outer rings. I'm not sure if they progressively get harder the further out they are, or if they're easier the further out they are. That is to be determined, because we do not see them presently in our own hands. Aside from all these changes, upcoming changes that they are considering for Warframes are to change the powers of most Warframes. Most Warframes are either thrown into a utility, defensive, or offensive class based on their powers and abilities alone, and they want to do some of these Warframes some justice. Some of these Warframes have a devastating fallout the later the game gets, and the harder the game is, because of the scaling armor, shields, and health values of the opponents. So to counterbalance this is they want to go back and revisit all the abilities and give them some utility. Some utility that will, regardless of the difficulty, still be usable and still be viable for some of these Warframes in late game. Other changes to Warframes are the impending changes to Valkyr, and that's pretty much the biggest change that they're doing to Warframes addressed in this live stream. You'll see the new animations and reworks for Hysteria, and these cover the basic jogging, running, sprinting, jumping, rolling, wall running, wall scaling, and they describe what seems to be the new slide attack, or the spin attack for some of us. That will be a Fist of Fury in a spinning top style with a uppercut of some sorts. I don't know. It looks insane, it looks beautiful, and I am so hyped to go back to my Valkyr and seeing Hysteria not be these floating Fists of Doom. And also they showed a new finisher, which looks pretty nice and pretty cool. So, I'm kind of dragging this on a little bit longer than normal, but here's some more interesting information to whet your appetite. They said something about new weapons. Apparently new weapons were leaked in the codex recently, and it seems to be a new weapon style or new weapon type that they are planning to introduce. And this seems to be claws. Yes, kind of like Valkyr's Hysteria claws, but more like gauntlet-styled claws for all Warframes to use. For some people, yes, Wolverine claws. But does Wolverine do these animations? I don't think so. These animations are pretty gritty, they're in your face, like that headbutt, and then you toss people over your head and into the ground head first. These animations seem to be very interesting. I cannot wait to see what the final weapon looks like, and what will be the name of choice for this weapon. And speaking of other weapons that are coming soon, let's talk about the sword and board. Yes, sword and shield. I still say sword and shield because that's how I acknowledge it as. And here are some new animations for this weapon, and I'm giddy. It's the first shield weapon that we're gonna get. Hopefully they install Shield Bash, and apparently the shield now is a boomerang. They could not resist making the shield a boomerang. Overall, can't wait to see this weapon in action, and I want to make it really, really pretty and vibrant so people can see them coming. So, let me end this Warframe Digest on a few high notes. As some of us may know from participating in the Breeding Grounds event, the 4 new mod cards, the new dual stat event cards, the fire status mods, have some very interesting images on it. As you see this one before us, there seems to be something strange on this. I can't put my finger on it, Warframe. There seems to be something new Warframe, and I really can't distinguish it. But what they did say in this live stream is that its new ability, or its only ability that they're going to be teasing us with, is a booby trap mechanic. Yes, you heard that right, booby trapping. No, not literal boobies. They will make traps amongst the environment. Environmental objects in-game will be trapped environments where pretty much enemies will pass by or interact with, or we interact with ourselves to set off environmental damages to enemies. We can open a locker and actually make it a devouring monster that will just consume the nearest corpus right next to it, or those loot containers that we smash pretty much can turn into radial blind flashbangs. So that leaves me wondering, what is the theme of this next Warframe? And what are its other 3 abilities? What's its name? Who is she? More details to come in Update 14, I guess. And last but not least, this can't be a Devstream recap without some conceptual art. And this concept art is coming from the desks of these developers that are doing the environmental level settings for the upcoming Corpus Tileset. Yes, that Corpus Tileset that we talked about 2 dev streams ago? I think it was a while. These Corpus Tilesets that will be external shipyards or ship crashes from these Corpus ships in these Hoth-styled iced-over planets, and they didn't show the environment itself, but they showed us the skybox. What will the background look? And it looks pretty. It looks pretty open, it looks pretty colorful, and that background image you see right there of the Corpus ship and a Fomorian will be animated according to the developers. You'll see that ship shoot that ship, and that may be pretty, but who knows how pretty that will be. And last but not least, they showed us the 3rd generation of Warframe helmets. Yes, there's Alpha, Beta, and this is gonna be Charlie, Delta? I don't know how these things go, but Gen 1, Gen 2, and Gen 3. These Gen 3 helmets that they are showing us are currently what seems to be, or what Rebecca said were, Loki, Necros, Nova, and Vauban. So these are the next set. Well, not the next sets. One of these 3 will be making it to final development for the 3rd generation headsets of Warframe. And I don't know, some of these look really pretty. Some of these look really interesting. And here's some of them colored in. So can't wait to get my hands on them. Gives some of these Warframes extra personality, some extra customizability, and some extra detail. Sorry for the long digest. This was a pretty interesting topic, and I had fun talking, and I got carried away. Thanks for sitting through this last 21 minutes with me, and have fun, take it easy, and see you guys in game.